All right, so today we are going to start with, again, point-slope form, but today we're going to actually change it to slope-intercept form. So let's kind of talk about some of the differences of slope-intercept form and point-slope form before we even get started here. So let's start with slope-intercept form. So you guys know when you have to use which form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That's the form you guys stayed with all year last year. You didn't learn any other line forms last year. So what do you need to write an equation in slope-intercept form?
Y.
What about the y, Jenny? The y what? So you need the y-intercept. Like a checkbox there, I guess. And what's the other thing you guys need? What, Jenny? So you need the y-intercept and the slope. That can be given to you in a variety of different ways. It could be given to you just as the slope and the y-intercept. You could also be given 2 points, but one of those points being 0, a number. So that's a y-intercept, and then find the slope. So just so you're aware of that. But in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need the y-intercept and the slope. So if that means that you have 2 points and you find the slope that way and one of those points happens to be the y-intercept, completely fine. But sometimes you're not given the y-intercept. So on Friday, we learned a different form, and it was called point-slope form. So Friday you learned that form there. So this is a good form to know when we no longer have the y-intercept. What are the things we need for point-slope form equation? What are the things you guys need to write a point-slope form equation? Avery. You still need the slope. What's another thing, Mackenzie? Any point along the line. So that's where the difference is, because it can be any point along the line. It's not restricted to the 1 point. So again, this can come in a variety of different ways. I could just hand you the slope in any point along the line, or I could give you 2 points, and you can find the slope and write a point-slope form equation, especially if one of those points is not the y-intercept, okay? So that's a very important thing for you guys to understand there. So get that stuff written down, and then we'll move on to the next slide and discuss a few things. We're going to be changing it to slope-intercept form today. So that's the big goal of today, is to get into slope-intercept form. All right. So we can write the equation of a line using the slope at any point the line goes through by using what is called point-slope formula. So this is just kind of a recap of what you guys learned on Friday. You will use this formula anytime you need to find the equation of a line, and you know the slope and a point that goes through the line. So you know y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So m stands for what, Katie? M stands for slope. Kelly, what is x1 comma y1 then?
The point on the line.
So you need to understand what those pieces are. On Friday, you guys will have a quick quiz. It will be 2 questions. And you're going to be writing the equation of the line in all 3 forms. You're going to learn standard form tomorrow. So it's important you know what these forms are by heart. You need to know y equals mx plus b. You need to know y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Because those are not going to be handed to you guys on the quiz, okay? So tomorrow will be standard form. You're going to learn some other things on the block day and Friday, but those will not be on the quiz. Just a quick quiz to test that you guys are understanding what we're teaching you before we move on too much. Finally, we can convert the equation to slope-intercept form by solving for y. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So before we move on, what questions do you guys have for me? All right, then flip the page when you're ready. So it says, write the equation of a line given the slope is 3 and it goes through the point -3, 1. So my first question to you guys here is, can you write this in slope-intercept form? Can I write this in slope-intercept form to start with? What is your thought there, Iris? Can we write it in slope-intercept form to start with? So remember, for slope-intercept form, we need the slope and the y-intercept. Do you know the slope?
Yeah.
Do you know the y-intercept? Is this the y-intercept? Is this the y-intercept, guys? Why is this not the y-intercept? We need... What, Alexis? It's net 0, comma, the number, right? So it's not the y-intercept. We can't use slope-intercept form, so we have to use point slope. So Hannah, remind the class how we would substitute those pieces into the formula there.
The 1 would become -1 to 3. -3 becomes 3, so it'd be y minus 1 equals 3 times x plus 3.
Good. And so some of you guys have probably gotten to the point where you don't need to put minus and negative. This became an addition sign here because she did minus a -3, and minus a -3 becomes a +3. So that's where that came from there. Now, we want to put it into, so this is point slope. I'm going to put PS here for point slope. We want to change it to slope-intercept form. So Sarah, what am I going to have to do to change it to slope-intercept form?
On the right side,
What would you do first?
3x and plus 9.
So you're using that distributive property there. Then what would you do, Sarah?
Add 1 to both sides.
Is that in slope-intercept form, Sarah? So we have our two forms. So this is slope-intercept. This is point slope. What questions do you guys have for me so far? Okay, example 2 says, write the equation of a line whose slope is 1/2 and the line goes through the point 2, -5. So Carly, first question is, can we write this into slope-intercept form from the beginning? No, why not? It's not 0, common number, so we're going to have to use our point slope form. So Jacqueline, plug that into point slope form for me.
Y plus 5 equals 1/2 times x minus 2.
Okay, so why did she get +5 there? What did she do to get +5 there? Alexis? Yeah, so she did minus a -5 and 2 negatives make a positive. So there's her point slope form. That's completely fine to change it from the start there. I'm fine with that. All right, we need to change that to slope-intercept form now. Morgan, what would you do to change that to slope-intercept form?
Distribute the 1/2.
What do you get when you distribute the 1/2? What's half of 2? 1. There you go. Very good. And then what would you do, Morgan?
Add the 1. I know, subtract the 5.
And why did you change your mind?
Because you want to keep it on the other side.
You want to keep the y alone on the left side. Very good. So that's your slope-intercept. What questions do you guys have for me so far? All right. Let's look at some graphs here. So write the equation line in point slope form and then convert it to slope intercept form. So we're not going to go directly into slope intercept form, although you could with a line, right? But we're not going to do that. We're going to go with point slope form first and then put it into slope intercept form. So Spencer, what do I need to take from this graph in order to write in point slope form? What do I need?
Point slope or
Point slope.
you need m
So m is slope. So how could I find my slope, Spencer?
the
What could we do? Slope is what over what?
actually y.
Huh?
Or
No.
y over
And I see that you drew a line on your paper, so what did you rise? You rose how many?
6.
And you ran how many? And they're both positive, so we do 6 over 3, which ends up being what? So m is 2. Okay, so Spencer got us our slope. What else do we need? What else do we need, Avery? We need to pick a point. What point do you want to pick? 4, 3 is on that line, so that's fine. Okay, Kaylin. Now that I have a point in my slope, I can put it into point slope formula. So can you put that into point slope for me?
Y minus 3 equals 2, and then in parentheses x minus 4.
Good. So she has her point slope formula here. Now we have to change that to slope intercept. How could I change this to slope intercept, Vivian? What could I do?
Distribute the 2 x minus 4.
What did you say it was?
Distribute the 2 and it'll be 2x minus 8.
So she distributed the 2 to x minus 4, and that would be 2x minus 8, and then what, Vivian?
Add the number both sides.
Good, so then we are in slope intercept. Jenny?
Could you do it like on a test? Would you have to show your original or would you just work on
I would not care if you just looked off the graph on a test. We're just practicing converting today, so not on a test next. I would not care. All right. Jacqueline, find the slope for example 4 for me. Rise over run. So how many does it move?
4.
What point are you starting from? Tell me which point to start from. 4, 3 is right here.
0, 3.
Okay, so if I go from 0, 3, what would you do? And that would be a negative 3, so your slope would be negative 4 over 3. Make sure you guys have your calculators if you're not very good with fractions. Sarah, what point do you want to use?
3, 0.
Okay, Sarah, go ahead and write the point slope form equation for me.
Y minus 0 equals negative 4 over 3 x times
Very good. So that's point slope. Hannah, what would you do next?
Distribute the negative 4 over 3 to x and then
Good. So go ahead and distribute that. If you need to use your calculator, you can. So do 2 negatives will make a positive, so I do know that that's going to be a positive. So you do negative 4/3 times negative 3. What you should notice here, though, if you don't have a calculator, is that this is 3 over 1. So the 3's would actually end up, you get negative 4 times negative 3, which is 12. 3 times 1, which is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And so if you plug that into your calculator, it should be giving you 4. So we can just drop that 0 there because that's not necessary. Anything minus 0 stays the same, so we're in slope-intercept. All right, before you guys flip to the next page, what questions do you guys have for me? When you're ready, then go ahead and flip. We're going to skip a few examples along the way here. I think you guys got the major idea of what you're doing here. So we're going to look at this page just because it has those examples again that are our special cases, and then we'll go through and I'll probably just pick and choose some problems for us to do. All right, Jenny. The slope is 0. What do we know when the slope is 0? And what did we say horizontal lines always are? So if it's y equals, guys, what is our y equals equation going to be? So we know we have 6, 3. So horizontal line. What will y equal? Alex, what will y equal for us? 3. We go by our y coordinate, which is 3, and if you look at the line that I just graphed, isn't 3 the y coordinate that's repeating over and over and over again? So again, these can be nice and quick and easy if you guys can remember what 0 slope and an undefined slope are. Olivia, what's an undefined slope? What kind of line? And so what kind of equation is written with the vertical line, Olivia? Okay, so we should have an x equals equation of some sort. All right, so we have a vertical line there with an x equals equation. What will x equal for us in this situation here? What will x equal for us in this situation here? Jenny? So we look at the x coordinate. If you look at the graph, it's constantly going to be 2 comma a number, so it's x equals 2. So what questions do you guys have about the special cases? All right. So let's do example 7 on the next slide, and then, unless this slide is just a repeat, no, they are. So we'll do example 7 on this slide, and then we'll do example 6 on the other slide because the numbers didn't change there. So let's look at example 7. Write the equation of the line that goes through the points 2, -4, and 3, 0. Is 3, 0 a y-intercept, Madison? Is 3, 0 a y-intercept? Why not? And we need which coordinate to be 0? Good. So this is not a y-intercept, so you can't go directly into slope-intercept form. What are we going to have to do first in this problem here? Kelly? We're going to have to find the slope. So we'll do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's 4 over 1, so that's just 4. So, Caitlin, then we choose a point. What point do you want to choose?
3, 0.
Okay, Jill, write the equation for me then in point slope form.
Y minus 0 equals 4 in parentheses x minus 3.
So that's point slope. Iris, what am I going to do to get that into slope intercept? Distribute that 4. Very good. We don't need minus 0 there, so that's 4x minus 12, and we're in slope intercept form. Okay, before you flip to the next page, what questions do you have for me? Like I said, we're going to skip that one table. I think if you're given points or a table, it's essentially the same thing. So we'll do that, and then we'll do one more example so you guys can have some time to start on homework. All right, so let's look at the table on the next slide. Are you given the y-intercept on this table, Morgan? No, so don't put it into slope-intercept form right from the start. So we're going to do the change in y over the change in x. Jacqueline, what's my change in y? How much is 3 to negative 15? It's minus something. What is it? Minus. So 3 minus 12 would be negative 9. So 3, Yes. So 3 minus 18 is negative 15. Very good. Vivian, what's my change in x? So we do change in y over change in x, which is negative 18 over 4. Carly, how does that simplify? What goes into both 18 and 4? What number goes into 18 and 4? 4 goes into 18 evenly? What number? 2. There you go. So that's negative 9 over 2 if you divide top and bottom by 2. So we have our slope. We need a point. Jenny, what point do you want to use? Okay, Spencer, write the equation. Okay, so that's our point slope. So now, Katie, we need our slope intercept. What would you do to get slope intercept? Okay, so This is like 2 over 1. So negative 9 times negative 2 is a positive 18. 2 times 1 is over 1. So it's positive 18 over 2. Positive 18 over 2? So that would be plus 9. Katie, what's the last step then? Alright, so we're going to skip that next example and just do one on the next page. And then you guys will have time for homework. Before I do that, what questions do you guys have for me? Sarah, what does f of negative 2 equals 10 mean? Good, so it creates our ordered pair. So input, output, input, output. So we have negative 2 comma 10 and 4 comma negative 2. So Olivia, what do I have to do first? Okay. So tell me how to find the slope. What would I do? Over.
4 minus negative 2.
So that becomes 4 plus 2, which is 6. So our slope is negative 2. Al, which point do you want me to use? Negative 210 or 4 negative 2?
Negative 2.
Okay. Hey, Madison, what's my equation? Good. So that's point slope. Vivian, what would I do next? So that's y minus 10 equals negative 2x minus 4. Then what, Vivian? So I get y equals negative 2x plus 6. All right. Are there any last questions for me?